So let's move on to Tyson Foods, who is recently in the news of launching a plant-based product. And basically what they did is they introduced their first plant-based and blended product along with its Raised and Rooted brand at the same time. So the initiative makes Tyson basically the largest meat producer to enter the growing alternative protein segment in its own products. The Raised and Rooted is designed to meet the demand of plant-based alternative eaters, and the blended foods may be the option for consumers that are looking to kind of test into those areas. They have a couple of projects or products that are going to be launching. One is the nuggets, which are made from blended pea protein isolate and other ingredients in 5 grams of fiber, omega-3s, all that good stuff. But here's the interesting, the blended burger is made with Angus beef and pea protein isolate as well, has fewer calories and less saturated fat than plant-based burgers sold by other companies like an Impossible or a Beyond Meat. So if you look at both the nuggets and the plant-based blended product, this is going to be interesting because I think what we'll continue to see is movement here in plant-based initiatives. And of course, Tyson being pretty much one of the largest protein suppliers in the country, I think the movement will continue to push toward what is about a 94% of the consumer landscape that is meat eaters, and about 6% that are true vegans. So you're really going after it. And Beyond Meat has said this when you look at our podcast. If you haven't had a chance to check that out with Ethan Brown, go to iTunes or Spotify, check out the Barron Report and look at the Beyond Meat or listen to the Beyond Meat podcast, because we talk about this very specifically about what Beyond Meat is trying to do. And mainly what they're trying to do is grab occasions. And what that simply means is they're taking meat eaters and trying to grab those few occasions. So if Tyson's strategy here for a blended product can start to replace those occasions of that burger 3 times a week, or those tacos 3 times a week, or nachos with beef on them, those kind of things can really start to play into, I think, the overall strategy. And those are issues, I think, that will continue to put them at the forefront. Here's the thing. Tyson continues to plan the product under release of the Raised and Rooted program across the company's portfolio of brands. So we'll see this both in the food service operators as well as the retail aisles. So more retail operations have expressed interest with Tyson Foods and can bring this alternative really kind of to the forefront. The company's depth and breadth of experience in protein development, I think that's another big play that will help them in terms of manufacturing and distribution. Huge opportunity here from the looks of what's happening with Beyond Meat when you see Beyond Meat skyrocketing. So here's an interesting note from a couple of their executives. This was a quote from Noel White, who is the president and CEO of Tyson Foods. And he said, today's consumers are seeking more protein options, so we're creating new products for the growing number of people looking at flexible diets that include both meat and plant-based protein. But here was the point he made that I thought was really right on, and I think it does match with where the market is going, and that, for us, it's about the and, not or. So they're looking at this as an add-on, not an or replacement thereof. So I think those are some big moves that could align Tyson directly into the crosshairs of what the consumers are looking to do. Another executive, Noel O'Mara, who is the marketing officer there at Tyson, basically these products are appealing to this cross-section of consumers who are enjoying both food from a variety of protein sources, and I think the Raised and Rooted program launch is going to be a pipeline of innovation. So that, to me, tells me that they have a plan to start with more products and more innovation in plant-based. So this is just a matter of going the distance. And if you're going to take on a company like Tyson, I think you've got to be ready for a true 15-round bout. So here's my take. And when you look at where the market is moving, Tyson, though it did have a stake in Beyond Meat, and they clearly were a potential leader in that, the new alternative product line, I think, going to have huge potential in retail penetration and food service penetration. But here's the key potential where this is going to be in the future, and I think this is a factor when you and there are some things that you could look to. If you look at where Beyond Meat stock is and has been over the last few weeks, and where Tyson is, Tyson, I think, is just in the position of getting started. Beyond Meat is in their fanfare and kind of their honeymoon stage right now with the New York Stock Exchange. And we're also seeing analysts that are starting to dial back that prediction. You're also seeing a lot more competition start to hit the ground, and I think with Tyson, Impossible Foods could be making a play soon. There's a lot in the market that is really going to be a player here. So here, this gets back to my second point, and that is, if these companies are going to be successful, the way to get products like this into the hands of consumers is going to be done through trial. Meaning people aren't going to walk through the aisles of retail unless there's a massive marketing campaign to drive you to purchase in retail. So where I think this is going to happen is in food service. Food service is going to be the essential brand ambassadors for these companies to help educate consumers on how plant-based products are, how well they taste, how great they are in terms of health benefits, and all the attributes that they can bring to basically a meal. And I think if you look at that, Tyson has an edge because they're already in so many food service operations today, and you compound that with their presence in retail and even in CPG, this is an interesting factor. I'm not sure that the impact on Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and even Memphis Meat isn't going to be one that is fairly heavy. We will, of course, take a look at how this plays out over the months to come, potentially the next year or so. The good thing is we're continuing to track these kind of topics on a week in, week out basis here. Foodable Labs is charged up looking at a lot of these kind of things right now, especially in the alternative proteins, because I think there's a major player, and food delivery. Those are the big hot topics currently in the food service market, and especially when it comes to operators like you and restaurant operators.